Welcome to the Los Angeles Coliseum. 65 years, this great stadium has hosted some of the great spectator events. 2 Olympic Games, the World Series, when the Dodgers first moved west from Brooklyn, and football games. That's what it's known for the most, countless games, and the LA Rams built a legacy here until 1979 when they moved south to Anaheim. And shortly thereafter, the Los Angeles Raiders took up residence. So today, we have about 85,000. They'll watch the Rams of Orange County against the Raiders of LA County. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen, and it's great to be in this setting. And I'm sure for my partner, Merlin Olsen, we don't want to date you, but it was 30 years ago that you were a member of the fearsome foursome with the Rams playing on this very field.
Dick, some powerful football memories for me here. A lot of ghosts in this stadium, past and present, and certainly one of the things that's most interesting to me about this matchup, these teams play in the same city, and yet this is not a kind of a grudge matchup. You talk about blood games, they talk about the 49ers, both the Raiders and the Rams. But this game is very important, and it's for one simple reason. Early in the season, both these teams share 3 losses in that 1-loss column. If they entertain playoff hopes, they've got to keep from putting another L in there that early.
Yeah, you're right about that. And so if the rivalry is not so intense, the game should be intense. If you had to focus on one area, what would it be?
Well, it's interesting. I think there is one area that's most critical. The question I would ask is Jim Everett going to have time to throw the football? Everett threw his first touchdown passes of the year last week, and he has some confidence right now. He's working behind a rebuilt offensive line, and the Rams are very worried about giving him time to throw. The Raiders, on their hand, can't wait to get their hands on Jim Everett to destroy his timing. And I think that's the critical thing we're going to be watching here today.
We have a beautiful afternoon, temperature 81 degrees. Hazy, not much of a wind. Really perfect for football. The Rams have won the toss. They'll receive. Jeff Jaeger will kick off for the black-shirted Raiders. Vernon Turner and Ron Brown are back deep for the Rams. And there is Ron Brown. Won an Olympic gold medal in this stadium back in 1984. It'll be Brown on the 9-yard line. Penalty marker down, and Brown goes out of bounds. Normally, that is a penalty against the receiving team making the tackle on the play. A host of Raiders, including David Lang. And it is against the Rams. Our referee today is Dale Hamer.
In fact, it's against David Lang, so not only got the illegal block, but also involved on the play.
The return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So that's not the place you want Jim Everett to start his first series. Up front, Gerald Perry, Tom Newberry, Doug Smith, Duval Love, and Jackie Slater. Smith and Slater combined 30 years in the NFL. Damone Johnson, the tight end. Buford McGee and Robert Del Pino in the backfield. Henry Ellard, he's one that the Raiders worry about at wide receiver along with Aaron Cox. First down on the 19. 2 tight ends starting the game for the Rams, and on the first play of the game, Ellard, it was Aaron Cox who was the intended receiver from Everett, double covered, but a penalty marker down backfield.
The Raiders are going to match McDaniel on Ellard all afternoon. That was the matchup there, and McDaniel got the bump just before the ball arrived.
Pass interference, defense, number 36, first down.
Terry McDaniel.
You see McDaniel riding the back shoulder of Ellard there. He actually got a touch on the ball. That's Cox actually coming in there. But one of the things you're going to see all afternoon is tight man-to-man coverage from this Raider defense.
The defense for the Raiders. Those are the linebackers. McDaniel, who committed the penalty, and Washington, the cornerbacks. A 25-yard penalty. And the give goes to Robert Del Pino, who picks up about 2 yards. Scott Davis making the tackle for the Raiders.
One of the things the Rams will try to do early in this ball game is get a running game established. The reason for that is very simple. They feel that if they can force the Raiders to respect the running game, that is going to help them with their pass protection of Jim Everett. So they don't expect to win this game with the run, but it's very important to keep running the football effectively.
Anthony Smith replaces Bob Golick at tackle for the Raiders. 2nd down and 8. On the 47-yard line, Everett completes his pass and gets into Raider territory, and that was Del Pino out of the backfield. Tom Benson making the stop, good for 11 yards and a 1st down for the Rams, looking sharp through the air.
One of the words that we heard quite often in the Raider locker room and the Ram locker room was rhythm. The Raiders talking about getting that pressure right in the face of the quarterback so that they can break his rhythm, so that Everett doesn't just get that ball, drop back, and Powell throw it out of there. And up front, they've got some real power. They can put some real hurt on that quarterback.
He's getting rid of it before the defense can get in his face. 1st and 10 on the 42 of the Raiders. Complete to Henry Ellard. He's got one man to beat and gets to the 23-yard line. Henry Ellard with his first catch, a gain of 20 yards. And the Rams and Everett moving smartly through the air. Lionel Washington makes the tackle.
A very nervous Jim Everett. You watch him in the pocket back there. Watch him. He'll be shaking this football. But look at how much time he has. He's thinking about throwing him. Watch him tap the football right here. A little bit there. Feet are nervous, but he has time, and that's the key there. That's the thing we mentioned in our opening. If you give Everett time like that, he's going to chew you to bits on defense.
1st down for the Rams. Less than 3 minutes gone by, and it's been a great LA march so far. Robert Del Pino with a hard hit up the middle. Tom Benson, one of the inside linebackers, making the stop, and a gain of 6 yards.
John Newberry was a center early in this year, will be next year, number 66 right there, working on one of the strongest physical defensive linemen in the league. And with a little assist from Gerald Perry, they buried Scott Davis on that play.
Newberry is penciled in perhaps to be the future center of the Rams, but not this year. Ron Brown is in as a wide receiver, replacing Cox, double tight ends for the Rams on 2nd down and 4. And Everett flips it out to Del Pino and dives forward. He's got the 1st down inside the 10-yard line. Terry McDaniel on the tackle and a gain of 9. And how are you going to stop these Rams? They're moving the ball every which way.
They are really in rhythm. And of course, that was one of the major concerns of this Raider defense. In fact, Dave Adolph said that's what we got to do, is break their rhythm, keep them out of it. Art Shell, he said his priorities when he took over to restore the dignity and the identity of this Raider team. He's done that.
1st and goal on the 8. On a delay, Del Pino gets inside the 5. Eddie Anderson, the free safety, comes up to make the stop on Del Pino, who, when he joined the Rams out of the University of Missouri, was used purely as a 3rd down receiver out of the backfield. But now he's added the other dimension as a ground gainer, and he has 7 touchdowns rushing this year.
Well, everyone expected Cleveland Gary to be carrying the rushing load, but he had trouble carrying the football early in the year, and Del Pino has taken over not only as the running back, but still extremely dangerous as the receiver. You saw him catch a big pass just a moment ago.
2nd and goal. The ball is at the 4. And Jim Everett's going to call the timeout. Doesn't want to make a mistake here, so close to pay dirt.
Well, so far, Ernie Zampese, who's the Ram offensive coordinator and who calls the plays from upstairs, has to be saying, hey, I like what's going on here. because they really have been able to take the ball and move down the field, taking advantage of the matchups and not being hurt by some of the matchups that they worried about, particularly in their right guard. Duval Love is the right guard, and the man over him usually is Howie Long. That is not a good matchup for the Rams, but so far Duval is doing a good job.
Rams have used up nearly 5 minutes. There's someone who has played against the Rams many times in his career, while member of the 49ers, Ronnie Lott, who was a big hero for the Raiders last week with his interception in overtime against Seattle, which set up the winning field goal. Raiders still talking about that great comeback, one of the greatest they've had in regular season in their history.
And when you say big plays, you see a picture of Ronnie Lott. I mean, it's almost automatic.
Second down and goal on the 4. Aaron Cox goes in motion. And Everett gets hit. It's deflected and nearly intercepted. Eddie Anderson nearly had the pickoff for the Raiders, but Greg Townsend, who is second in the AFC in quarterback sacks, nearly picked up another one.
And that should have been shut down. Hard to believe that Anderson could not catch it. Watch it from the backside, left of your screen. Number 93 will come all the way around Jackie Slater, and as Everett backs up, he hits the arm right there. 33 Anderson, the ball in his hands. Well, maybe that's why he's a defensive back. But boy, you sure could have turned the emotion of this game early with that interception.
It'll be third and goal. Everett's pass is an open man, and it is caught for the touchdown. That's Del Pino. So here's a guy who couldn't throw a touchdown pass until last week against San Diego. In the second half, he threw 2 and now picks up where he left off. A 4-yard score to Robert Del Pino, and the Rams on the first possession of the game jump up in front 6-0. Tony Zendejas, who has been perfect this year, both in conversions and field goals, remains so as he adds the 7th point, and the Rams lead 7-0.
Just a moment ago, you saw Greg Townsend harassing on the backside, harassing Jim Everett. Nobody puts more heat on quarterbacks, not necessarily sacks, but just harassing them. Watch Damone Johnson step up and give them some help right here. Bam, number 86. He's the man that gave Everett a little extra time. Del Pino all by himself. They're fortunate. That ball could have gone over Del Pino's head. That's the work of a former wide receiver going up to shag that one way high, but he pulled it down.
Everett, by the way, got the pass off just before Howie Long hit him, so he had to have a lot of poise on that play. And by the way, for Robert Del Pino, that is his 8th touchdown of the season, which ties his career total. He only had 8 touchdowns in his career before this year, and he's got 8 this season.
He's the go-to guy, and if you look at the percentage of this Ram offense, and the one point I'd have to make is that most of these offenses, all of these offenses, have been more productive than the Ram offense, but he has been the man, both in the running game and in the passing game.
Tony Zendejas will kick off. Back deep for the Raiders is Sam Grady and Jamie Holland. It is a squibber, and it's going to go out of bounds, so the Raiders will start from the 35. This is only the 7th time that these teams have played each other. The last 3 games have been since the Raiders moved to Los Angeles.
30 yards from the spot of the kick. 35-yard line of the receivers.
Dick, an interesting tag to the Raider defense as they get their offense out on the field. They're known for their man-to-man defense, but in that first series, almost all zone. I think trying to cross the Rams up may have crossed himself up in the process.
Jay Schrader, who tied a Raider mark with 52 passing attempts last week in the victory over Seattle. First down on the 35. And a play action fake on the first play, and going deep catches it. What a catch. The Rams are saying incomplete, and the Rams are right. Darrell Henley was covering on the play as Jay Schroeder goes up top long on the first play.
The Raiders talked about their vertical game, and they very quickly come out and tell the Rams, we're going to test you deep. We're going to take the shot. And even though this play is incomplete, the warning has been delivered to that Ram defensive secondary. Don't try to sit on the short routes. Very close. In fact, that ball just touching the ground, or it would have been complete.
But the Raiders, as you say, serving notice that they'll stretch that defense. 2nd down and 10. Ratty has replaced Galt, who gets a breather after that play, and the give is to Roger Craig. Craig up to the 40-yard line, and a gain of 5 yards. Bruce Wilkerson, Steve Wisniewski, Don Mosbar, Reggie McElroy, Steve Wright up front, Ethan Horton, the tight end. He had the best game of his career last week. Craig and Steve Smith are in the backfield, and Galt and Mervin Fernandez. Fernandez had a terrific game with 9 catches last week against Seattle.
The Raiders really want to test you with the deep pass, but their main objective here really will be to impress the Ram defense with their running game as well. They'll hammer them inside.
3rd down and 5. Wide open is Ethan Horton. What a weapon he's become. A first down into Ram territory. A gain of 24 yards before Jerry Gray and help from Pat Terrell bring down Horton. Rams defensively, 2 plan Bs, Carl Wilson and Gerald Robinson. Alvin Wright, the veteran. Robert Young is a rookie. The linebackers, Kevin Green. He started the year as a defensive lineman with Larry Kelm and Fred Strickland. Ray and Darrell Henley the corners, and Pat Terrell and Michael Stewart are the safeties. And a first down on the Ram 37. Raiders getting right back into it, trailing 7-0. And we're going to have a Ram penalty. It looked as if Gerald Robinson had jumped offside.
That gives us a chance to remind you that Ethan Horton, not only a fine pass receiver, but has moved into the run responsibility of that tight end position as well. He's in a situation where he mismatches with the Ram linebackers today. Fred Strickland trying to cover on that play. Man-to-man simply couldn't handle Horton.
Offside, defense, the defensive left end, 5-yard penalty, first down.
One thing the Rams are looking for, with Jeff Fisher as their defensive coordinator, is to beef up that defensive line. They'd like to get something like Fisher developed in Philadelphia with the Eagles.
Wouldn't everyone?
First down and 5. Schrader the pass, and wide open is Horton again, and he's got it inside the 10-yard line. Henley on the tackle, a gain of 23, and this has started out as a wild, wide open affair.
Again, taking advantage of the Ram linebackers with Horton's ability as a pass receiver. Little play action to hold him in just for a second right there. Plenty of time for Schrader. And watch this very athletic catch by Ethan Horton. And look at how much room he had. It looked like Kevin Green, who's moved from end to linebacker, had the coverage on that play. Fred Strickland. You're Strickland. You're saying, hey, maybe you better send me some help for Ethan Horton.
He goes out, and Robin Pfeiffer, the rookie from UCLA, replaces him. And Jay Schrader, like Jim Everett, decides to call a timeout. 7-0, the Rams lead, and the Raiders, like the Rams, don't want to make a mistake in their attempts to tie the game.
Fred Strickland right here on that last play, just trying to cover here as they go to the outside, but it's obvious that they're not going to be able to cover with Strickland. He's going inside. It's Kevin Green on the outside, but watch the play right here. He's all by himself, and they put Larry Pfeiffer into the game, or Roman Pfeiffer, to try and cover Ethan Horton.
The Rams are going with a 3-man line as Wright comes out. Paul Butcher replaces him. 1st and goal on the 9. 4 linebackers for the Rams. a lot of time, and the pass is caught for the touchdown to Willie Gault. Willie Gault caught only one pass. You'd think he had a bad game, but that wasn't the case. He was double covered all day, and that allowed people like Fernandez and Horton to get free. And Gault already pays dividends here with a fine catch, good balance. And now Jeff Jaeger will try to tie the game up. And he does. With 6:47 to go, there's a penalty marker down. So let's wait. It is against the Rams, so the extra point is good, and we have a tie game.
Both offenses serving notice early here.
Holding, defense, number 55. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. The point is good.
Sanders with the hold, but this touchdown is a first for the Raiders. It's their first quarter touchdown of the year. And you know, the Rams didn't have a TD in the first quarter before they tallied earlier.
Willie Gault running an excellent post corner, comes down, drives inside, and then breaks back outside and is able to find room as he forces Terrell inside and Henley drifts outside. The other thing to watch is how Gault comes back to the football. Watch him move right there as he slides inside to make that touchdown catch.
The Raiders have scored 10 touchdowns this year, all through the air. They're still looking for their first rushing score, but it's 7-7 in the first quarter, and what a lot of people thought might be a low-scoring game still might be, but each team has hit through the air in their first possession.
If you'd have bet somebody early in the season that the Rams wouldn't score a passing touchdown until last week and the Raiders still wouldn't have a rushing touchdown, how much money, what kind of odds do you think we could have gotten on that?
I'd be on vacation.
We'd all be down there, not only on vacation, buying the hotel.
Jeff Jaeger kicking off deep into the end zone. Well, you spend your money your way, and I'll decide what to do my way.
Okay.
First and 10 Rams. Rams will start from the 20-yard line.
Well, right at this moment, if you're an offensive player, you're smiling. If you're a defensive player, you're probably huddled up on that sideline saying, how do we get these people slowed down?
As you mentioned, Merlin, the Rams and the Raiders each come in with 3 losses, both in playoff and in the Raiders' case, a division possibility, but they can't afford too many more defeats. Buford McGee is lined up as a receiver on first down on the 20, and Everett's going way deep and overthrows Ron Brown. And with that, we're going to check in with Greg Gumbel in New York for an update. Greg?
All right, Dick, at New England, Minnesota came this close to beating the Patriots in regulation. Rich Gannon's pass to Anthony Carter, batted away by New England's David Poole. They settled for the field goal. They've gone to overtime, tied at 23. Let's go back out west to Dick and Merlin.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. So the Patriots already, to a lot of people, have overachieved in giving the Vikings more than they could handle, apparently. Second down and 10 for Jim Everett. Ball is at the 20. The give is to Del Pino, and he'll lose about a yard. Howie Long. And a loss of 1. Tough to keep him out of there.
Very difficult. We mentioned that is really a...
It'll be third down and 11. Vernon Turner and Ron Brown, 4 wide receivers for the Rams. 3 of them lined up to the left. Now Cox goes in motion. And we'll have a whistle and a penalty marker down before the play. And that very likely is against the offense.
False start. Number 78, prior to the snap, still third down.
So a penalty against the Rams puts them deeper back in their own territory to the 14-yard line. Third down and 16. Jim Price and Damone Johnson, two tight ends. Out of the shotgun is Everett. Raiders are kept out defensively, and Henry Ellard gets free and makes the reception at the 35, and a first down, a gain of 22 yards, and kudos to the Rams offensive line. They kept him out. Gary Lewis and Ronnie Lott made the stop on Ellard.
Dave Adolph very succinct yesterday, the defensive coordinator for these Raiders. He said Ellard is the go-to guy. Well, when you've got this amount of time, and that is great pass protection, Everett looking right and coming back with a perfect strike right there to his man.
First down for the Rams. They get out of trouble. They're on their 35. Del Pino gets just to the 40-yard line, maybe a tad short. Eddie Anderson on the tackle. Gain of 4 for the bulwark of the Rams backfield.
Dick, so far in this ball game, this rebuilt offensive line for the Rams doing a good job of protecting Everett. And Gerald Perry, they obtained him early in this year from Denver, were able to pick him up and put him to work at the toughest position on that line. There he is, number 64. He's just doing an excellent job in there of keeping people off his quarterback.
Second down and 5. Everett with a quick toss to Del Pino, and he'll get the first down. Plus, and that plus was pretty impressive. It ended up a 24-yard gain before Ricky Ellison, the middle linebacker, made the tackle. So Del Pino and Ellard are having terrific first quarters for the Rams.
Jimmy Everett very positive about the contributions of Del Pino. One of the things he said is that Del Pino is so much more comfortable. A lot of times there was a question, does he really know what he's doing? Well, watch this fake on Ronnie Lott. He embarrasses Ronnie Lott there with a little move. He knows what he's doing out there.
When Del Pino reported, he had a problem really getting the plays down, and it took him a couple of years, and now he's got it, and Everett has a lot of confidence in Del Pino, and Jim is going to call his second timeout. So it's rare that a team calls 2 timeouts in the first quarter.
And we'll see if that really hurts them as they get up to the half of this ball game. I think in Del Pino's case, not so much he couldn't learn, but that he wasn't comfortable.
If you would have talked to John Robinson and Art Shell before the game, they'd say our offenses are struggling. We have more confidence in the defense. Hasn't been the way so far. On first down, Everett loses the ball. Fumble.
Yep.
And it's recovered by the Rams. The loss, however, of 9 yards. And let's see who came in on that play. Tom Newberry made the recovery for the Rams, but it was Greg Townsend, who nearly had a sack, who caused the fumble.
Tremendous pressure left side of your screen. Howie Long cracks the pocket inside, and Townsend right over the top of Jackie Slater levels Everett with the ball back. Watch Everett now. The rule says if the arm does not start forward, and there's no question there, he's actually turning. He felt Townsend. The ball knocked away.
Second down and 16. Everett with a quick release gets Damone Johnson, who rides the defender out of bounds at the 35. So they'll still need 8 yards for the first down. Mike Jones, a nickel linebacker, on the play for the Raiders, a gain of 8 yards.
Jones, another one of those Raider projects, a running back that they have converted to linebacker. They like his speed, and they're trying to work him into the nickel package because of his ability to run with those wide receivers, not the wide receivers, but the running backs and the tight end.
They're going to bring Jim Price out to the right with 2 wide receivers. Third down and 9. And the toss going for Ellard. Let's see if they'll throw the flag. No, incidental contact downfield. Ellard was defended by Terry McDaniel, the man he'll be watching all game, and that will bring up 4th down for the Rams. So the Rams will kick it away, and Dale Hatcher will do the punting. So the sack hurt the Rams. They couldn't get into field goal range, and Hatcher will punt for the first time. There's Tim Brown. The threat. He'll be back at the 10-yard line. Hatcher will go for the sidelines, you can be sure. And the kick drops at the 2 and helps the Raiders by darting into the end zone. So the Raiders will get the ball back on the 20. 7-7 the score between the two LA teams.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Well, tonight, Game 2 of the World Series between the Braves and Twins, 5 o'clock Pacific time. And last night, the number 9 hitter in the Twins lineup, Greg Gagne, hit a big 3-run homer, and that was the big blow for the Twins as they won behind Jack Morris. Ken Herbeck also hit a home run, and the Homer Hankies were out in full force as the Twins won at home.
I know that's an intimidating stadium for football teams. Is it that intimidating for baseball teams as well?
It's so loud. Some teams bring in earplugs to keep the noise away. Tough place for visitors. 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line for the Raiders. Pass was intended for Galt. Incomplete. Jerry Gray covering.
Jerry Gray, a man that the Raiders are going to look to often, has really not been able to come back off knee surgery to full speed. Has to do more guessing now. And guessing is a dangerous business. Jeff Fisher, the new coordinator of this Ram defense, inherited perhaps the most vanilla defense in the league. And he's trying to make massive changes without the kind of personnel he needs to play his defense. That's tough.
2nd down and 10. Roger Craig tests the middle. You remember, Craig did not play in the second half of last week's win over Seattle or in the overtime. He had fumbled in the first half, and he has not been 100% healthy.
When Roger Craig came here, there was no question Craig is on the downside of his career, but he is still valuable as a spot back. Unfortunately, with Bo Jackson out of the picture and Marcus Allen hurt, they had to put him in and make him the workhorse. That is not a role he can fill at this point in his career.
Craig comes out, and Tim Brown comes in as an extra wide receiver. 3rd down and 10. Raiders stays in the pocket, completes to Willie Galt. Penalty marker is down. Upfield, and Galt is tackled at the 38-yard line. It'll be a Raider first down, but a flag was down at about the 40. Jerry Gray making the tackle for the Rams.
A very late flag, Dick. A very late flag. Interesting.
And appears to be against the Rams' defensive holding. So the first down will count and get the Raiders out of trouble.
Illegal contact. Number 23 of the defense. The penalty is declined. First down.
Michael Stewart, the strong safety. Jeff Fisher
exhorting his defense. I mentioned that they are not physically able to play his defensive scheme as well as he'd like them to, but Michael Stewart is a man he's very proud of. Says he is going to be one of those great nickel linebackers.
First down, and Roger Craig trying to go outside, and there's your man. The penalty marker is down. Michael Stewart caught up to Craig, but another flag down in the area of the defensive secondary. This time the holding penalty is against the Raiders.
Holding. Number 86 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Here's what the Raiders are missing in the tremendous performance of Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson last year. Look at the rushing yards, the receiving yards, the average per play. Well, suddenly you don't have either of those folks in your lineup, and you're asking Roger Craig to step in and carry that load. Not an easy task.
Basically, the Raiders do not have a running back right now. First down and 20. So they got to go to the air, and Willie Galt's been the busy man so far in the first quarter. A gain of 14 yards before Pat Terrell making the tackle. So Marcus Allen out with a sprained knee, and they've lost Bo Jackson. So now the Raiders going through the air. And the clock will run down, and that will do it for the first quarter.
You mentioned the absence of a running back, but the Raiders proud of Nick Bell. They'll see more of him later in the day.
Marcus Allen on the sidelines. Each team scored on its first possession of the game.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler, automobiles that offer the perfect balance between self-indulgence and common sense. The ingenious products from Magnavox, they're smart, very smart. And by Bud Dry, dry brewed so it drinks light yet satisfies completely.
This is Dick Stockton along with Merlin Olsen. We start the second quarter here at the Coliseum. Crowd of upwards of 80,000. Marcus Allen, and he got hurt in the first game of the season, and without him the Raiders simply, and without Bo Jackson, simply do not have a threat in the backfield.
Well, they expect to bring him back after the bye, so they'll play Kansas City without him. He says he's about ready to go, so his leg is getting stronger all the time.
Second down and 6. Pressure on Schrader. Goes downfield. There's a man there. And Roger Craig had his hand on the ball. And a penalty marker is down in the backfield. And we may have a holding penalty against the Raiders.
Gerald Robinson applied pressure to the quarterback.
Gerald Robinson put a big rush on Schrader on that play.
Holding. Number 66 for the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
And it was Steve Wright.
Wright shaking his head. Was telling me at the practice site that the cheapest sack he ever remembers giving up came here in the '88 game against the Rams when Kevin Green got a safety as Berline scrambled out much in the same way as Schrader did on that play, and Kevin tripped him in the end zone.
Second down and 16. Bill Hawkins replaces Carl Wilson for the Rams at defensive end. They rush 3 this time, and the pass is caught by Ethan Horton, and the tight end makes another big catch. Good for 18 yards and a first down just into Ram territory. Michael Stewart was the first to get him, and then Darrell Henley finished the job.
Ethan Horton will be coming right here. He's the man to look for as he pulls out of there, and the Rams again having trouble with the matchup that they're trying to get on Ethan Horton. Watch him here. Breaks into the secondary, gets a little bump there, and then drives outside. And Horton has found a way to get open all day long against the linebackers. That's Larry Kelm trying to cover him on that play.
3 catches for 65 yards in this first half for Ethan Horton. First down on the 49. Schrader guns it, and it's caught by Mervin Fernandez. His first catch of the game. And what a bullet that was by Jay Schrader. Kevin Green downfield nicely makes the stop, and a gain of 17 yards for the Raiders.
Kevin Green, I'm afraid, one of those people who really does not fit as comfortably in this Jeff Fisher and Philadelphia-style defense as many others. They tried him as a defensive end. He bulked up to play that position, but has not been effective. Getting down on the three-point stance really took his effectiveness away. He's back at linebacker now, but he is really too big right now to play linebacker.
He only has 1 quarterback sack. First down on the 32. Schrader has time, and his pass is intercepted. Jerry Gray runs it out of bounds. Jerry Gray, with his second interception of the year, returns at 22 yards.
One of the problems Schrader has, he's really not a quarterback that looks off receivers. With that receiver all the way, and that allows the defensive backs to get a good jump on the play. Jerry Gray did exactly that.
This game summary is sponsored by Bud Light.
Well, a lot more yardage gain than expected so far in this half. Everett off to a good start. Del Pino scored a touchdown, and Ethan Horton picking up where he left off in the Seattle game a week ago. First down Rams following Gray's interception on the 38, and Del Pino is stuffed by Howie Long and a loss.
Howie Long told me yesterday that he was going to try and take advantage of Duval Love's inability to move laterally. Love, a very powerful guard, is fine if he can keep you in front of him. But the minute he has to move laterally, he has a problem. And Howie Long quick enough on that last play to shake loose and get inside. And there you see Duval Love, 67, matched up again on Howie Long.
Loss of 1 yard. Second down and 11. Everett dumps it off to Damone Johnson. He's a tough man to bring down. And the big tight end gets to midfield, a gain of 13 yards. They are going the length of the field, both teams back and forth. Ricky Ellison that time made the stop.
Well, we mentioned the last time that Duval Love got beaten by Howie Long. Well, here he tries to get the arm under. Duval Love buries him as he trips over the feet of the defensive, or actually Jackie Slater, and goes outside. Damone Johnson showing good power on this play, picks up an extra 10 yards after the catch.
Cleveland Gary is in for the first time, replacing Robert Del Pino. First down and 10 at midfield. And a fine catch by Ellard, and is quickly thumped to the ground by Terry McDaniel. A gain of about 5 yards that time for Ellard. And you better make the stop when he grabs it, otherwise he'll be gone.
Very, very quick. In fact, Jimmy Everett talking about how quickly he comes out of his moves and the quickness he exhibits on the field. He said he'd rarely seen any receiver who has quicker moves than Ellard does on the field.
Ellard has caught 3 passes already for 47 yards. Second down and 5. Price, the tight end, in motion, and now they go to Gary. Stumbles forward, will be shy of a first down by about a yard. Tom Benson making the tackle for the Raiders.
Cleveland Gary, they're hoping that they can help him overcome his fumbling problems. Great talent as a running back, but boy, you just cannot afford to have a running back that can't hang on to the football. And you see Robinson with some positive affirmations there for Cleveland Gary, and he is a positive coach. That's something he does very well.
Third down and 2. Robert Del Pino checks back in. Ball is at the 43 of the Raiders. Aaron Cox went in motion, and the pass to Del Pino, and he makes another big play. And a first down for the Rams. That's his 5th catch of the game. That's good for 8 yards, and Tom Benson again defending for the Raiders.
An excellent call by the Rams. You'll see Del Pino just circling out of the backfield and breaking back across the middle. And that ball thrown where he could just drive to the inside. Benson, who was on the outside, had to come right through the receiver to get his hands on the football.
There's an injured Ram on the field, and an official timeout has been called. We don't know who it is, but we'll know when we get back.
Almost a nightmare for the Rams. Gerald Perry, the tackle on the line of scrimmage here. Watch him as he takes his man outside, forces the play, and thinking it's over, suddenly he's hit by 2 players coming out. He's had to leave the game. Duval Love moves to tackle.
And Bernd Brostek has come in. They didn't want to use him in this game, only in an emergency. Cleveland Gary on the carry on 1st and 10, picks up a couple. Brostek suffered a sprained left ankle, and John Robinson told us on Friday only would be used in an emergency. Well, it is an emergency with Perry out of there. Brostek playing right guard, and as you mentioned, Love now the left tackle.
So you have really 2 concerns. You have an injured player in the ball game at guard, and you have Duval Love out at that critical left tackle position, and you're going to have to protect him with your tight end and some extra help. Not a good situation for the Rams.
Second down and 8. This is an offensive line that has been shuffled and shuttled from day 1 this year. Mostly passes in this game, and we got another one coming up, and Jim Price On the receiving end of both of Jim Everett's touchdown passes last week, grabs another one. Good for a first down inside the 20. A 13-yard pickup with Ronnie Lott on the stop.
And a very, very smart call. When you know you're going to have trouble protecting your quarterback, you throw a pass so quickly that they can't get to you, even if they're unblocked. And that's exactly what Ernie Zampese did.
You know, Jim Price is Jim Everett's roommate. And no one could have been happier with his emergence last week than Jim Everett. And he says, as a matter of fact, we have 3 times as many plays in for him this week after his success. First down on the 19-yard line. Rams threatening here. Del Pino tries to cut inside and picks up maybe 2 with Ricky Ellison on his shoe tops.
Just a tag to that Jim Price story. Not only his roommate training camp now and on the road, but also rents a room in Jim's house. And he leaves a note on the fridge. Throw me the ball, Jim. Throw me the ball. I said, any notes this week? He said, no. I figured he'll look at the film this week. He knows who I am now.
And as it turns out, he's throwing him the ball.
Yes, he is. I don't blame him. There's Perry testing that knee. And that's good news. He looks to be moving effectively.
Second down and 8. Rams are on the Raiders 17. They go to the running game again. Del Pino breaks a tackle, but runs into Anderson and Townsend. And is hit hard. It'll be third down and long coming up from the Rams.
Howie Long right here. Watch the pressure. He gets inside. He's there to get a shot on Del Pino, but Del Pino does a great job of getting off of this hit by Benson and Long to pick up an extra yard or 2. That's great running, but good pressure inside by Howie Long.
And good news for the Rams offensive line. Gerald Perry is back in the lineup at left tackle. Third down and 8. On a design rollout going against the grain, Damone Johnson, he's not going to get the first down. He'll even lose a yard on the play. The Raiders were not fooled. It was Tom Benson and Bob Goling. Eddie Anderson also in on the play, and we'll have a field goal attempt coming up.
Defenders really have to stay home on a play like this. What they're trying to do is get all of these guys to come over here. They're going to come back over here and try and throw the little shot to the other side. But watch what happens. They get a few players back, but enough stay on the far side. And then Damone Johnson's so slow to make that big turn that by the time he got back to the line of scrimmage, he's dead.
Zendejas has not missed a field goal going into this attempt, and this one as well is good. So in the last 2 years, Tony Zendejas has made good on 15 consecutive field goals, and the Rams take a lead of 10-7. 37 yards for Tony Z. So the Rams capitalizing on the first turnover of the game, Jerry Gray's interception, and Tony Zendejas with a 37-yard field goal to give the Rams the lead with 6:14 remaining in the half.
And Zendejas still perfect on the year. I was asking him about his kicking shoe, and he said, I got this one new this year. I'm going to wear this shoe till it falls apart. I don't blame him.
Looks like he's got a few more kicks in it.
I think there are a few more left in it.
Sam Grady and Jamie Holland are back deep for the Raiders. It's a short kick. And Grady bobbles the ball. And it's going to cost him. Penalty marker is down upfield as well, as Grady is down at the 11-yard line by David Lang.
Flag thrown at the heels of A.J. Jimerson. If this is a penalty and marching it back toward the Raider end zone, a costly error because they'll really be in the shadow of those goalposts. One of those conferences. We certainly are getting more than our share. Here's a man who's enjoying a little rest. Jackie Slater deserves a rest in his 16th year.
The officials are gathered, and there's one Ram and about 9 black-shirted Raiders around him. So the Rams are not well represented in that quorum, that's for sure.
You don't want to start a fight when the odds are like that. I can promise you that.
We have 2 penalties on this play. We have holding on 53. We have offside on 48. The 48 penalty, the offside, is declined. The holding is accepted. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
So they took the penalty with the larger yard mark off, and the Raiders will start from just outside the 5-yard line here.
Well, if you take the offside penalty, you got to go back and kick it again.
Well, making his first appearance in the backfield for the Raiders is Nick Bell, who gained 75 yards rushing last week, 68 of them in the second half and overtime against Seattle. He's a rookie from Iowa, and he is a huge back.
255 pounds. That is big.
First carry for Nick Bell. Has the ability to go outside nicely. He gets the first down. Jerry Gray on the stop, a pickup of 11 out of the University of Iowa. And in the second half, his running opened up the passing game for Jay Schroeder.
A powerful showing last week. He was hurt in that game they played in Tokyo, and that was a real setback because he not only hurt his knee, but he also burst a blood vessel and had real problem getting over that. Is just now rounding back into shape and fitting into this Raider offense, but they think he is a real comer.
That was the first rushing first down of the game. This time Bell changes direction and is tripped up. It'll be second down and long. Bill Hawkins, who replaced Carl Wilson at left defensive end for the Rams, made the stop.
When Nick Bell got to college as a freshman, he weighed 253 pounds and was a running back. Now I'm saying a freshman running back at 253 pounds. He had some kind of specimen. Ran indoor track at Iowa. I don't think I would have been there trying to stop him at the end of some of those short tracks.
Second down and 8 for the Raiders with 4:45 remaining in the first half. Schroeder gets good protection, and his pass is caught by Andrew Glover, the rookie tight end from Grambling, a gain of 18 yards. And he caught the ball as he used to as a postman. It's playing center on the basketball team at Grambling. Darrell Henley brought him down.
The Raiders always willing to gamble on talent, and that's exactly what they did in a 10th round of this year's draft when they went for Andrew Glover. He was a walk-on the basketball team and became the starting center, so he certainly has great talent, and they have high hopes for him as a tight end.
For the Rams, Chris Pike has replaced Robert Young at defensive tackle. Paul Butcher is in for Kevin Green. Bell gets beyond the 40-yard line. It'll be second down and about 7 with under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Bill Hawkins and Larry Kelm that time for the Rams.
We mentioned Jeff Fisher wanting to establish his system, and a part of that system is a high percentage of blitzes and dogs, the attacking part of that defense. But when you worry about man-to-man coverage from your corners, you really can't attack as much as you'd like to. And because of that, he's blitzing about 15% of the time. Would like to blitz twice that much.
Second down and 7. Raiders with the ball on their 41. Schroeder has it tipped. He was going for Smith out of the backfield, and Chris Pike got a hand on it, and that will bring up third down.
Chris Pike is 6'8" and 300 pounds. He used all of that wing spread, just reached out and swatted that one down like a little fly.
Rams lead 10-7. Each team scored on its first possession of the game. And for the Rams and the Raiders, their first touchdown in the first quarter of this season. And a field goal by Zendejas, the difference. Third down and 7. Coming up for Schroeder. Here comes a blitz, and it's a free ball. Penalty marker down as well, as Michael Stewart with a safety blitz jarred the ball loose from Jay Schroeder. And let's see, it appears to be recovered by the Rams. Bill Hawkins recovered it for LA Rams, and they'll get good field position.
Jeff Fisher told us at the Ram camp, he said the one thing that Schroeder is not conscious of is the backside blitz. And we're confident that we can hit him with it. Wow, look at that. I think they may review that one. That looked like his arm was started forward, and I think we're going to see this one reversed.
Well, I know they'll review it.
Ooh. Wow.
They already have decided that the play will go as is. But I agree with you, Merlin. I think.
Well, I'm not a great fan of instant replay, and I think they just blew one. I think that was. I think he had started the throwing motion.
Jim Everett has the Rams on the Raider 33 with 3:06 to go in the first half, and the pass is caught by Price. Gets inside the 30-yard line. Lionel Washington with a tackle and a pickup of 5.
Michael Stewart was a linebacker in college, and because of that training, he blitzes very effectively. Here he is on the bottom of your screen. Watch him as he'll just wait for the right timing. And he gets a great jump on the snap here. Lines up as if he's coming inside and then just streaks inside, and Schrader never even saw him coming.
Second down and 5. Rams lead by 3. Fisher says Stewart will be like Duerson and Bell in Chicago. He'll be a tough, strong safety. Robert Del Pino brings the ball to the 25-yard line. He'll be short of a first down by less than a yard, if that much, as we wind down close to the 2-minute warning. Anthony Smith and Ronnie Lott that time on Del Pino's play. Keep in mind the Rams use 2 timeouts, and they'll have only 1. So we have 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Rams in Raider territory leading 10-7.
3rd and 1. 2 minutes.
Next Sunday, it all starts with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern. Bears and the Saints. Will the Bears end the New Orleans winning streak? We'll find out. The 49ers go to Philadelphia. Jim McMahon hopes to be back for the Eagles. 4 o'clock game, the Rams play at Atlanta in an NFC West battle. And it all begins with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff.
Let's go back and take a quick look at that critical play. Is the arm started forward? I think so. Watch it now. Up and forward. Stewart really doing a great job of reaching for that arm, but I don't think there's any question that he'd started his throwing motion.
3rd down and 1, and they've got the first down. Del Pino fights his way to the 19-yard line. Winston Moss making the tackle. The ruling from the replay official upstairs is that Schrader's hand came forward without the ball, and that's why they determined that it was a fumble and not an incompleted pass. His hand came forward right there. You can see without the ball. It was knocked away by Stewart. Thus the ruling. First down, Jim Everett to Price, and he gets to the 1. I think he's found a favorite receiver as an H-back in Jim Price.
When Holohan left, Dick, a big hole in this offense for Jimmy Everett, because Holohan was his man to go to whenever he got in trouble. He was the ace in the hole. Not only the ace back, but the ace in the hole. Everett right there getting a sense of the opening for Price and zips it to him. Price just rolls it up and puts it down on the 1-yard line.
3 catches for 35 yards for Price. 3 tight ends, and Everett loses the ball. Fumble.
I think that the Raiders have it. Yes, they do. Ricky Ellison.
You're right. You're not surprised that a Ricky Ellison would be alert enough to pick up that ball, would you?
Dave Adolph said, hey, he's our Mike Singletary. He's the guy that gets us going.
That is a critical mistake by the Rams in the exchange.
Doug Smith back in the lineup at center, and that's the last thing you'd expect from an experienced center with 14 years in the league. And Jim Everett, a missed snap. That's a replay of what the Rams saw so often in their opening game. The nightmare. They thought that was behind them, but it cost them a critical turnover here on the 1-yard line. Boy, what a big opportunity gone awry.
46 seconds remain in the first half. And an official timeout is called. Big alert play by Ellison after the mistake by the Rams.
14-year center Doug Smith, and I think he may have jumped the count on that play. You try and get a little edge. Watch him here. Watch how quickly he's out. And he gets a real jump on the count. Nobody is even moving out of their stance when the ball moves. Now stop it right there. You see the ball go right up through Everett's hands, and Everett didn't ride that center out as he has to. That ball bounced away and ended up in Raider hands. Costly mistake by the Rams.
Raiders are on the 1-yard line. And the give is Schrader on a quarterback sneak to use up the final seconds.
Shades of last week's game against San Diego as that half wound down. San Diego trying to come out of their own end zone, and the Rams able to get a safety in that ball game.
Marion Butts tackled in the end zone. So again, the Raiders are involved in a bizarre play on the goal line in the final seconds of the first half.
The Raiders end up with 2 seconds on the clock, or 1 second on the clock. I think they'll throw the football. I don't think they'll run it.
Second quarter score.
We will not have another play.
Phoenix 3. Second quarter, San Diego.
Don't forget, Docker's halftime report coming up with Greg and Terry with the scores and highlights from around the league and many of the games having been played early. So we had a lot of scoring early, but a field goal in the second quarter by Zendejas the difference. And that is the end of the first half with the score, the Rams 10 and the Raiders 7.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, who puts a driver's airbag on every new Accord, Civic, and Prelude and urges you to buckle up. Wrangler, comfortable jeans for men. And by Ford Motorcraft Quality Parts. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. And by Coors Light, the silver bullet is the right beer now.
You know, we've been talking about the Los Angeles Coliseum and my partner Merlin Olsen playing here with the Rams for many years, but the University of Southern California, of course, uses this field for their home games for so many years, and there is such a distinct cardinal and gold tradition here of players and coaches and throughout the league, really. Marcus Allen, who's not playing today, great star here at USC as a running back. Ronnie Lott made hits like this long before he got into the National Football League. But it was basically an entire team that was impressive, and they've made their mark in the NFL as well. John Robinson, the head coach. So many players have gone on to stardom in the NFL, Merlin.
In fact, 35 players off of that team played in the NFL. And not only that, but 15 All-Americans, 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 1 Butkus Award winner. Maybe the most outstanding college team of all time. To give you a feeling for that, there's John Robinson on the sideline. 3 guys at one position who are all pros. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Anthony Munoz and Mosbar, and then Bruce Matthews from down in Houston. So.
And Jeff Fisher, of course, wanted to come back and coach for John Robinson after being with Philadelphia because he played at USC and played under John at the school.
He was a defensive back along with Ronnie Lott, Dennis Smith, an All-Pro, and Joey Browner. Now, you think that's a secondary or what?
They should be in the league themselves. Right now, let's take a look at our game and the offensive comparison. Looking at the Raiders and the Rams in a 10-7 game in favor of the Rams. Same possession. Rams have the edge on the field goal. The turnovers, number of plays, Rams time of possession, but that big play toward the end of the first half could be significant overall.
That Ram turnover on the 1-yard line, certainly to this point, I think the most important play of this game, because it allowed the Raiders to escape what would have been a 10-point Ram lead. The Rams had been moving the ball without problem. They carried it right into the locker room, were able to hopefully come out and attack Jimmy Everett. Jimmy Everett, we talked at the beginning of this ball game about the critical nature of giving him time to throw. Dick, he has had time to throw and only sacked 1 time so far in this ball game.
You know, the way it looked in the first possession of the game, as you look at the comparison of the two quarterbacks, you would have thought that, you know, we would have scores into the 30s for each side, but it's calmed down since then. In fact, the Rams had a great opportunity after Schrader had fumbled the ball on Stewart's safety blitz, but then the Ram fumble at the 1-yard line really foiled things for them. Schrader's numbers aren't bad, 8 for 12 for 141 yards, but he really didn't have that good a first half, really.
Well, both of these teams coming off encouraging performances last week. For the Raiders, last week in the second half, they really put it together on offense and defense and special teams for the first time all year with a whole team effort. And they hoped to carry that into the ball game today. Well, they played well, but certainly not as well as they did in the second half. The Rams seem to have been able to sustain their victory and the feeling they got out of that. Everett getting his touchdowns much better, and they really have played well in this first half.
What do you see in the second half that may be different in what these teams may do from the first half, just taking a wild guess?
Dick, I don't think you change your format much. I don't think you change a heck of a lot. For the Raiders, they're going to have to make some defensive adjustments. The Rams moving the ball very effectively, and I think the same thing is true for the Ram defense. Neither defense played outstanding football in that first half.
Tony Zendejas kicking off. Grady is back deep along with Holland. This is Grady at the 10-yard line. And he is nailed at the 20-yard line. Glenn Sanders making the stop on Grady, so Jay Schrader will go to work.
Dick, just an interesting follow-up to our conversation about that 1979 USC team. They ended up co-champions. They tied Stanford, and that cost them the championship. Alabama was the champion that year, and that was the last time they had lost to or tied Stanford until last night in the Coliseum here. And Marcus Allen was saying, oh, bad game. All those USC players there, a bunch on this field, down a bit because of that.
Raiders start from the 21-yard line, and the give is to Roger Craig, looking like Roger Craig of old with the 49ers. Darts his way out to the 36 and a gain of 15. Pat Terrell, and then Stewart brought Craig down, and Reggie McElroy, the right guard, he delivered the key block for Roger Craig.
Excellent blocking in front of Roger Craig right here, as you see the backside pull by McElroy right there to get the pop on Larry Kelm and spring Roger free. I mentioned earlier he can't carry the load now, but boy, he can sure come up with a big play for you.
Longest rushing play of the day and a first down on the 36-yard line. They go back to Craig. Gets 2 yards. Gerald Robinson making the tackle.
Terry Robisky calls the plays for this Raider offense. And as many of these Raider coaches are, he's a former player for Al Davis. And he has an interesting relationship on the sideline with Art Shell. He said, Art has to kind of keep me honest. He said, I tend to kind of forget about some of the new plays and get into a few habits. And Art will sit there and listen and say, I don't think so, Terry. I think we better call something different on that play.
Second down and 8. Interception. Mervin Fernandez was the intended receiver, but Jerry Gray darted in front of Fernandez and came close to picking off his second pass of the game.
Tim Brown, a man that they look for on that third down, and on that last play, some good pressure from Carl Wilson. And for this Ram defense, a critical pickup for them. Carl Wilson along with Gerald Robinson, 2 fine defensive linemen. Hard to find in Plan B, but they got 2 good ones.
Pat Terrell, former teammate of Tim Brown's at Notre Dame. He was a wide receiver, but you ran decoy patterns while Tim Brown got all the attention. Sammy Lilly and Anthony Newman, extra backs on 3rd and 8, and the pass is incomplete. It was intended for Tim Brown, and that'll bring up 4th down, and Schrader will have to wait for another series.
Talked to Tim Brown about Terrell, and he said, yeah, he said, Terrell was supposed to step into my place, as was Todd Light. He said there 2 of them were both wide receivers, but he said Todd Light played too well as a freshman on defense. They kept him there, and of course he was the Rams' first draft pick last year. And he said Terrell's problem was he couldn't catch the ball. Now I want to be in the room when he tells Terrell that.
Jeff Gossett, this will be his first punt of the game. Rams were coming on that play, looking to get a piece of it. Turner makes a inexperienced play, and penalty markers are down, and so is Turner at the 5. You never field a punt down there. You got to let it bounce. Napoleon McCallum making the tackle, a 60-yard kick by Gossett. He was well rested for that one, and a flag is down.
Dan Turk assisting on the tackle. Penalty flag against the Rams.
Illegal block. Number 26 on the return. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Jim Everett's going to have a tall order right here.
Anthony Newman called for the penalty. And it was Robert Bailey who almost blocked that punt. So two backs playing strongly into what the Rams will say, boy, if only we had been able to block that one. Well, here they are starting on the 2-yard line. And that's tough against a physical defense like the Raiders.
Gossett's longest kick was 61 yards, so that wasn't even his best of the season. First down on the 3. Fires upfield, and I think he just wanted to get rid of that one. The closest receiver was Henry Ellard, but that pass was 15 yards behind him, with Eddie Anderson the closest defender.
One of the things that Everett has done, and certainly did last year during the year in which the Rams would just as soon forget. They were 5-11 and really did not protect Jimmy well at all. He ended up throwing a lot of times off his back foot. And he's a little angry about having us mention that to him, but it's still a problem for him. There's Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders. Done a fine job of coordinating this aggressive Raider defense.
Second down and 10. Here comes a blitz, and the handoff is to Del Pino, and he brings it out to the 6-yard line, and that was a case in which the blitzer just missed the running back. Ricky Ellison came storming in from the middle.
Ricky Ellison, number 50, the guy that comes right over the middle. Right here is the guy to keep an eye on. Watch him as he times this play beautifully, goes right over the top and gets a piece of the back. Del Pino there. Boy, that would have been a brilliant play for a safety. We said that Ellison is there's Mike Singletary. He certainly proved it on that play.
Third down and 8. And the pass is tipped, intended for Ron Brown, and a big play by Lionel Washington. And now the Rams will have to kick, and they don't have much room to do it. Washington, leading the AFC with 5 interceptions, draws the applause, as the entire defensive unit does, from Dave Adolph.
This forces you to kick with almost a short punt and a tight protection situation, and guarantees good field position for the Raiders.
Dale Hatcher. Tim Brown looking for the return at midfield. And the Rams with extraordinary coverage. There's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Rams couldn't ask for better punt coverage on that play, with Paul Butcher and Jim Price on the tackle, and the penalty will be against the Rams, apparently.
Against the Rams for illegal motion, and I think we're going to see this punt kicked again, because Hatcher, who has struggled this year, has had some horrible kicks, has really had a problem, and I think the Raiders are going to force him to do it again.
Illegal formation on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. The penalty is declined.
Well,
first down.
I think I might have gone back and forced Hatcher to kick another one.
Raiders will have the ball at the 43-yard line of the Rams when we return. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen here at the Coliseum, where the blackout was not lifted because they did not have 92,000 sold by 72 hours prior to the game. We have over 85,000 here, and in a rivalry that Doug Smith said it's a battle of the bumper stickers, the in-between fan, because the Rams have the loyalty south of LA and Anaheim, and the Raiders, of course, a lot of people say, aren't they from Oakland? Huh?
Well, they're not. They live in the Coliseum.
First down on the 43 of the Rams. Schrader going to work on first down.
Fumble.
time they called it a fumble. Gerald Robinson came storming in, and Steve Smith pounced on the ball, and a great rush that time by Robinson.
Doug Wilkerson has been tipping his stance a bit on this side. I think they're getting a jump, and it's Wilkerson that Robinson powers all the way back and then drives right over the top of Schrader to force that fumble. But Robinson, one of those great acquisitions, and I said it's hard to find good rushmen, and the Rams went out and found them in Plan B.
Loss of 9 yards. Raiders back in their own territory. On second down, Schrader steps up, and a wide open Ethan Horton will pick up a big chunk of yardage and is knocked out of bounds and picks up the first down inside the 25.
You teach those receivers to keep working. Horton will come all the way across. See him right in the middle of your screen? Working all the way across. And Schrader finally sees him and gets him the football. And Horton goes back to being a running back. A #1 draft pick at that position when he went to Kansas City.
28-yard gain and a first down for the Raiders on the 24 of the Rams. And the give is to Steve Smith. Good blocker, gets a chance to carry the ball and picks up nearly 5 yards. Larry Kelm and Alvin Wright make the tackle on Smith, who came in as the second leading rusher for the Raiders behind Roger Craig.
Came in with a very healthy 5.5 average, too.
Second down and 6. 10-7 the Rams. 5 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Roger Craig picks up a couple, and it'll be third down and short. Michael Stewart makes the play from strong safety.
One of the things that this Raider offensive line had not been doing early in this season is really moving people off the ball. And they're challenging here in this second half and attacking with that offensive line. Very nice block on that last play by Steve Wisniewski, the left guard, as he pulled over and got the trap block to spring Roger Craig.
Third down and 3. Neither team changed personnel for this play. And the blitz, and the pass is incomplete. They wanted to go to Steve Smith, but the Rams chose this down to blitz, and it paid off for them with Bill Hawkins putting on a great rush from defensive end.
Watch Kevin Green. Keep an eye on him. He's their ace rusher. Slides inside, tries to go in, but no. He's not the guy that gets in there. It's Hawkins from the outside. Too many people looking at Kevin Green and nobody looking to the outside for number 70, Bill Hawkins.
So Jeff Jager is on to try to tie the game, a 35-yard attempt. He's missed just 2 field goals this year. Jeff Gossett, the punter, will hold. Jager, the hero last week, with the overtime field goal, ties it up here. 9:07 remaining in the third quarter. Jeff Jager ties it up 10-10. Putting on his helmet is Elvis Patterson. He has been a star on special teams for the Raiders. Hopes to make the Pro Bowl as that role this year.
Well, and that means he's only got about 8 or 9 plays to make an impact on the ball game, and will spend hours and hours watching film and looking for opportunities to come up with a big play on special teams.
Jager will kick off. Turner and Brown are back deep. It's a short kick, and it'll be Ron Brown at the 10. He puts on the steam. Ron Brown with a great return. Napoleon McCallum. Talk about some marquee names right there. Bring down Brown from behind after a gain of 37 yards on the kick return.
Perhaps particularly satisfying for number 81 Ron Brown, because he was wearing a Raider uniform last year. They tried to make him a defensive back. He'd been one at Arizona, but he is now back on the offensive side of the line and back in a Ram uniform. And there is Elvis Patterson. Did he get out on the pattern? No, they hit him, but he's still going to find some action. Watch him as he takes a shot right here. You put two guys on the best they've got and try and drag him to the ground. But even then, Elvis chasing from behind gets a piece of the tackle.
First down on the 46. They go to Del Pino. And Del Pino may have a first down. Everett didn't see anything downfield, and so he swung it out to his reliable back. Tom Benson was the first to get to him, and then Terry McDaniel, and 6 catches on the day for Del Pino.
Making people miss. That's kind of what it's all about when you get your hands on the football, and Del Pino did a great job of getting Washington to fall on his face as he did Ronnie Lott earlier in this ballgame. He has done a good job of faking people out in this game so far.
First and 10 on the 43 of the Raiders. Buford McGee gets a couple of yards, almost a forgotten man, with Price emerging as an H-back. Gets his first carry of the game and picks up 3.
Anthony Smith, a 3-yard gain. 2nd and 7 from the 41.
The Rams, who have struggled with their passing game, have had to change their receiver distribution. When you've got time to throw in 1990, they tried to throw 47% of the time, and I shouldn't say they really had a lot of time to throw, but they have even gone to fewer passes to the deep receivers early in this season, throwing it instead to running backs and tight ends.
2nd down and 7. Del Pino couldn't hold on. He had Townsend right around him. And that will bring up 3rd down, and Ricky Ellison came storming in again, and one of these plays, he's going to nail somebody.
He is, and that's exactly what we're talking about. When you've got the heat coming on your quarterback, you don't call as many deep patterns, and he can't afford to look deep. He's instead got to go to those short receivers, as he did on that last play.
Dave Adolph, in describing Ellison, a former 49er and USC star, he's our Singletary.
A little misting going on there, trying to cool the air down behind the Raider bench.
Gary Lewis, Torrin Dorn, and Jimerson are all in on the nickel situation, but Henry Ellard makes the reception, goes out of bounds, and a Ram first down inside the 25-yard line. A pickup of 16 yards. It was McDaniel and Ronnie Lott. But very tough to stop the elusive Mr. Ellard, and the Rams threaten here.
17 yards.
Henry Ellard, certainly not a young football player anymore. In fact, his receivers go is almost ancient. Has played 9 years now, 29 years old, but he can still put some hurt on you. And it's his experience factor that really kills you in a situation like that.
First down on the 24. They send Aaron Cox wide to the right. Everett fires. Ellard defended by Washington, incomplete off his fingertip.
Jim Everett got about an extra 2.5, 3 seconds and almost converted it into a touchdown. Watch him here. He's nervous. He wants to throw it there. Feels an opening, steps up, and zips that football. He rifled that one. Boy, there was no... That ball was through Ellard's hands before he could even get a lasso on it.
Just under 7 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter. 10-10 the score. Jager's field goal tied it up here in the 3rd quarter. It's now 2nd down and 10 for the Rams. Del Pino, following Damone Johnson's block, brings it to the 19-yard line. A gain of 5 yards. 3rd down coming up with Lott and Anderson making the tackle.
The Raiders not a team that blitzes a lot, but they were blitzing earlier, and Everett able to convert a big play on that to Ellard, and on that last play they blitzed again, and they were still able to break Del Pino outside, able to pick up the blitz and get some good yardage.
This drive all began with Ron Brown's 37-yard kickoff return. But now it's the moment of truth. 3rd down and 5 for the Rams. 4 wide receivers. Everett's pass is caught by Vernon Turner, and he gets in for the touchdown. They better watch gets it. They may get nailed for a penalty, as the Steelers did in Monday night's game against the Giants, and that might have cost them. Picked up on waivers from the Buffalo Bills. Vernon Turner gives the Rams the lead.
You get the sense of Jim Everett's confidence on that last play. And that's something he has exhibited a tremendous amount of so far in this ball game. I think coming out of his performance last week and certainly carrying through into today, and that kind of pass.
His first NFL touchdown and his first reception of the season. A 19-yard catch. And now Tony Zendejas will try to give the Rams a 17-10 lead. Still celebrating on the Rams sideline. Mike Pagel is holding. (17-10) the Rams.
6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
He had to do a lot of fighting to get over the goal line. Vernon Turner got by 3 defenders with his first NFL score.
24 yards in 7 plays. Using 3 minutes.
McGee is going to come across and get a pick. Torin Dorn is the defensive man, but this is Turner coming out of the backfield. Just runs to the outside, waits for a second, and then breaks it off downfield behind the pick. But watch this as Vernon Turner will now follow Buford McGee up the field. Torin Dorn stumbles a little bit right there, and Turner right in behind him with room to take it in for the touch.
The Rams were penalized 5 yards for demonstration in the end zone. So the kickoff came from the 30, and now the kick goes out of bounds. So this is reminiscent of last week's game with the Steelers and the Giants when they had a 5-yard penalty for demonstration, and then on the kickoff they kicked it out of bounds. And the Giants converted and got the field goal to win it.
I would say this, that looked like a very rehearsed celebration in the end zone, and that's the kind I would throw a flag on. I'm not for throwing a flag on spontaneous celebrations, but I don't like the ones that they've been in the dance studio with for an hour.
On Monday night, the Giants got the ball exactly where the Raiders have it, the 40, and they got into field goal range in a hurry. 30 yards from the kickoff spot, so they have it on the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 on the 40. Raiders trail by a touchdown with 6:01 remaining in the third quarter. And the handoff is to Nick Bell. No gain on the play, maybe a yard.
On the far sideline, that's Dave Adolph, I'm sure, saying, hey, we've got to keep an eye on those combinations of players that the Rams put on the field. Of course, it was having that wide receiver as a back, and the back moved out as a flanker that allowed them to get the matchup that allowed them to score that touchdown.
2nd down and 9. Raiders with the ball on their 41. Is caught by Smith out of the backfield, and Michael Stewart grabs a hold, but it's close to a first down at midfield.
Gain of 8 yards.
Paul Butcher, who came in for Strickland, made
3rd and 1.
the play coming around.
Here's Butcher. Watch him as he tries to blitz on that last play, coming inside, and they just stick him and lay him off to the side. When you blitz, you better find a way to get to that quarterback, because if you don't, you got a lot of people singled up downfield.
And that's what made Stewart's tackle that more critical. It was an open field play. 3rd down and 1 for the Raiders on the 49-yard line. Chris Pike is now in at defensive line for the Rams. 3rd and 1, he's going to throw it, and the pass intended for Craig. He had it and then lost it. Glenn Sanders was downfield, but Roger Craig never got an easier ball in his hands on a pass play.
Well, it came right over the top, bounced out of his hands, and Glenn Sanders had it for a moment. So 2 players, 1 on each side, with a near completion on that play. Craig was just a little bit late getting his head cranked around. Watch him here. That ball bounces right out of his face mask. Now watch Sanders. That ball is in his hands. No! How can I drop that one? And he swats right to Craig on the back.
So Jeff Gossett is aboard. He kicked one 60 yards, which pinned the Rams and set up Jager's field goal to tie the game. Jeff Gray and Darrell Henley now go back. So a new pair of punt returners, and they'll let that bounce, and it'll be down by the Raiders at the 1. Elvis Patterson, who else?
Special teams, such an important part of overall performance. It pays off here. The perfect kick, and Patterson is right there to take advantage of it.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Tonight it'll be Tom Glavine for the Braves and Kevin Tapani for the Twins, and Ken Herbeck can hit lefties as well as righties as he sent this Jim Clancy pitch into the upper deck last night. Ken Herbeck with the home run as the Twins took a 1-0 lead in the World Series. 5 o'clock for our viewers tonight with the pregame show, Game 2 of the 1991 World Series.
Well, a sports feast, some exciting football here and some great baseball action later on.
Rams start from the 2. Everett's pass. He caught it. It was Ellard. McDaniel doesn't believe it, but Ellard made the clutch catch and a gain of 21 yards. How do you bring this guy down and stop him from getting open for the big catches?
Credit Jimmy Everett, though, for having the peace of mind and the sense of mind to do a little sift in the pocket. He's going to feel the pressure here. Now watch what he does as the pressure climbs in on top of him. Howie Long right there. He just slides over to the side and then zips the pass into Ellard. Great play, Everett and Ellard.
5 catches for 85 yards for Ellard today, and a first down on the 29-yard line. Aaron Cox, the intended receiver. Lionel Washington was covering him.
In our conversations with Jimmy Everett yesterday, one of the things we talked about is the number of times he stepped up to throw the football. He's a different quarterback when he does that. And today, he is stepping up and delivering the football. Some altercation going on down on the field between the emotionally charged Raider defense and the Ram offense.
Bob Golick and Duval Love in particular.
I'd like a couple of rhinos butting heads.
Second down and 10. Rams on their 23. They give it to Del Pino. He gets nothing, and Howie Long. Right now, let's check in with Greg Gumbel in New York as the Lions and 49ers battle north of here.
Well, Dick, Tom Rathman has scored his second touchdown of the day from 2 yards out. Meanwhile, the 49ers have held Barry Sanders to just 22 yards rushing. San Francisco leads the Lions 28-3 in the third. Dick?
All right, Greg, and a big test coming in. Everyone knew for the Lions with their 5 straight victories, but the 49ers, a hungry team wanting to stay in the playoffs in their own right.
How do you figure that 49er defense falling down as they did against Atlanta last week and roaring back today?
Third down and 11. Del Pino. This time it was another guy, Anthony Smith. Howie Long had nailed him prior to that. And that'll bring up fourth down, and Hatcher will kick it away.
They like the first-year power and quickness. Duval Love pulls, and he misses right there as Smith just slides inside of the trap and nails the back before he can move. Great quickness by the first-year player.
As both Raider defensive end have really nailed the Rams' running attack. Hatcher will kick from the 5. Tim Brown is back to you. Line drive kick, and Brown smells a return. Rams coverage on a low kick to a great returner like Tim Brown is tremendous today, and Paul Butcher, the rookie from Western Michigan, made the tackle after a return of 15. Well, the 49ers back in business if they go on to beat the Lions, and they'll play the Philadelphia Eagles, who are off this week, but they're hungry in their own right. That's a very big game at Veterans Stadium. The Chicago Bears will try to end New Orleans' unbeaten string. Not an easy task in the Superdome. And the Rams will travel to Atlanta, and that's a very tough task in the NFC West. That's next week, and it all begins with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern.
Have called a timeout.
And a timeout. The Rams defense was confused. They had too many men on the field. John Robinson, about as animated as I've ever seen him right now.
John furious. He said, hey, we may need that timeout. What's wrong with you out there? Let's get that substitution under control. Jeff Fisher there to kind of explain what was going on for his defense. The Rams do move a lot of players on and off the field, and that means that everyone has to be alert to those substitutions.
Updating scores. The Raiders, especially looking at that Kansas City-Denver game. The Broncos are a half a game ahead of the Raiders, and Kansas City a game ahead of the Raiders in the AFC West coming into today's action.
And that Bronco game that's 3 weeks away at Denver is one that Marcus Allen is hoping to be back for. So they've got an eye on the Broncos very carefully in that ball game.
Saints stay undefeated, despite the fact that Steve Walsh had to play in place of the injured Bobby Hebert. Houston over Miami. Oilers lead in the AFC Central. Indianapolis remains winless. New England won in overtime, I believe, over Minnesota. Shocking loss for the Vikings.
Oof.
Now we're back here, 1st and 10. Rams on the Ram 43. Schrader, his team down by 7, completes the pass to Fernandez. First down inside the 30. And they better blow the whistles. A 15-yard pickup. Henley and Stewart. Tempers in the heat of the floor of the Coliseum are short.
The Rams have done a good job on the Raider wide receivers today. It's been Ethan Horton and the backs have really been killing them. Mostly Horton. But I'm sure they've made some adjustments to try and take Horton out of the action. And suddenly it's Fernandez with a big play.
You get the feeling that if the Raiders had an outstanding running back that they could use healthy, they would have an offense pretty tough to stop.
Well, and they've got big Nick Bell in there. He had a great week last week. Has not done much here today.
See what he does on this play on first down. 255 pounds, and he picks up nearly 9 yards before Kevin Green brings down that train.
Well, this is one of those new big backs. Christian Okoye, 260. Haywood from New Orleans, 260. You've got Hendrickson from San Diego. That's not right, is it? Nick Bell and Marion Butts.
It's big back month for the Rams anyway. They got to face a lot of these big guys.
That's Bernstein that we need from San Diego.
2nd down and 1. Steve Smith looking for that one as the final seconds tick off in the 3rd quarter. He did not get the first down.
Steve Smith at 240 pounds, Dick said, he said, this is the first time I've been the small back in the backfield. He is not as big as the man standing behind him by any means.
They stop the clock with 9 seconds to go. We'll have a measurement. And looking at where they spotted the ball, Smith might have gotten enough for the first down. It is a Raider first down. Art Shell said last year we got no respect. This year we became a marked team. That's the difference from one season to another for these Raiders. Jeff Jager, in case they don't get the 6, he'll be called upon, and that will do it for the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Rams 17 and the Raiders 10. And our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton and Merlin Olsen here at the Coliseum. The Rams, who have never trailed in the game, leading the Raiders 17-10 in a game that's been kind of more wide open than a lot of people anticipated, with special teams the subtle story with a lot of the big plays scoring-wise. First and 10 for the Raiders on the Rams 17. The rookie Roman Pfeiffer is in at linebacker for the Rams from UCLA. Schrader looking for the end zone, going that way, and it is incomplete. Intended for Willie Gault. Jerry Gray defending.
The anticipation was that the Raiders were going to throw that football, and so Pfeiffer, who is not as good against the run, is on the field to try and keep an eye on Ethan Horton, who has just killed the Rams this afternoon. So the Rams taking a bit of a risk, because if the Raiders decide to run that football, Pfeiffer's liable to give up some yardage to them.
He's a good cover man, but he's still a rookie. Kevin Green has not been in the game a while. Paul Butcher is in at linebacker as well. A couple of rookies, second down and 10. And the pass is caught by Fernandez, but the Rams keep him away, and it'll be third and long. A good tackle by Michael Stewart.
Kevin Green, Dick, has been playing, as we mentioned, defensive end, and they've moved him back now to linebacker. But Jeff Fisher was very succinct about it yesterday. He said, listen, if he can't play that linebacker position, he's going to end up on the sideline. And Kevin cannot cover. He can rush the passer, but he can't cover. That's why he's on the sideline right now. And within this defense, you lose his production as a pass rusher because he can't play linebacker.
Third down and 8. 7-point lead for the Rams, and a safety blitz is picked up by the Raiders, and the pass to Tim Brown is incomplete. And beautiful coverage by Sammy Lilly, the nickelback. Michael Stewart, who has 8 tackles, a sack, and a fumble recovery, came storming in on a safety blitz. The Raiders read it, but nothing going.
Well, the Raiders not only read it, but they picked it up. And the fact that they're able to get away here without a touchdown, they're fortunate, because that ball briefly in the hands of Tim Brown, the third down receiver over the past few weeks. Lilly, forcing those hands up inside, broke the football loose. Big play by Sammy Lilly.
Jeff Jaeger will attempt a 32-yard field goal. He's kicked one already, and this one is going to be no good. It's off to the right. John Robinson is delighted as Jaeger misses a chance to cut the 7-point lead to 4. So the Rams withstand the threat by the Raiders, and they'll have the ball when we return to the Coliseum. As you look at the game summary, look at the Rams passing yardage, 219, and Everett 18 for 26. That is not exactly what the Raiders envision in their plan coming into this game.
We started the day talking about the most important question of the day. Will Everett have time to throw the football? And those guys in black and silver have not been able to climb on him often enough to say no to that question.
First down on the 20, 17-10. Everett under siege, and he completes the pass to Cleveland Gary out of the backfield. And they get enough for the first down and more. 14-yard pickup, and making the tackle was Ricky Ellison downfield.
Everett able to get out of there and scramble, use his mobility, and come up with another big play. They've been able to do that consistently when they've been backed up against the goal line. One of the questions I would ask, Dick, going back to that last Raiders series, they moved the ball so effectively with the running game and suddenly get down into the red zone and throw 3 straight passes and get stalled out.
First down on the 34. Everett with an inside rush, gets it to Del Pino. He had to go behind him to make the catch, and he does, and another first down. Ellison with the stop and a gain of 13 yards. Right now, let's check in with Greg Gumbel on another West Coast game. Gregory?
Yeah, Dick, right up the coast in San Francisco, the 49ers are pouring it on. Steve Young, his second touchdown pass of the day. Mike Sherrard, his first of the year. 35-3 Niners in the third. Dick.
Thank you, Greg. Speaking of Greg Townsend with a good inside rush on the last play.
Powerful inside rush, and Everett doing a great job of not only getting that ball away, but getting it on target.
First down, Gary. Picks up 2 yards as the Rams approach midfield with plenty of time remaining. A little more than 12 minutes to go. Rams lead 17-10.
You've got to wonder in this kind of situation if maybe Ernie Zampese isn't going to use more and more of those short passes, much as you would and much as the 49ers would, to control the football. They're certainly just as effective, and as long as he can complete those quick shots, give his backfield men a little room to work, they're just as effective as running a sweep or diving into the line.
Ram running backs have caught 7 passes today. Second down and 8. Throws into coverage. Not a great idea. Ellard was double covered with Ronnie Lott and Terry McDaniel.
I really think he was just throwing that football away. And, so many passes today. You look at the totals for the Rams, their rushing totals not effective at all, but a lot of those yards, that 243, have come on those little short swing outs to the backs, to the running backs, giving them a chance to pick up the yardage with a long handoff instead of a short handoff in the backfield.
Mike Jones in at linebacker with Gary Lewis and Torrin Dorn. That's the nickel package for the Raiders on third down and 8. Picked off by number 99 Winston Moss. It was intended for Ron Brown, and Moss, a very solid acquisition from Tampa Bay on a trade, merely picked one off.
Look for number 99 coming from the right hand side of your screen, backing out and then coming all the way across to be there just as that ball arrived. I'll tell you, he's not the kind of guy you want to give up, but bad teams trade good football players.
Winston Moss is a good football player. Dale Hatcher kicks. Fair catch called for by Tim Brown at the 16-yard line. 35-yard punt that time.
35 yards on the punt by Dale Hatcher.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. GTE. At GTE, the power is on. And by Xerox, the document company.
Raiders ball on the 16, trailing 17-10. Kevin Green is back in the lineup at linebacker for the Rams. Nick Bell up the middle. Let's see if he's going to wear down the Ram defensive line. Do you think they're a little tired at this point?
I think they really are, Dick, and I think this hot afternoon has had more impact on this Ram defense. They played highly emotional football here in the early parts of this game. I think the Raider offensive line, if you're going to give them a chance to go ahead and establish their running game, would have a chance to drive the ball down the field running the ball. And, of course, they got the big backs in there right now to give them a chance to do it.
Green lines up. Number 91 you see on the left side of the defensive line. Second down and 8. He's on pass coverage on this play. Schrader's pass to Steve Smith. Fights for the first down yardage and is awfully close to it. Michael Stewart on the tackle and a gain of 7 yards.
I can remember a time going way back when you had a luxury if you had a running back who could catch the football. If you're going to be a running back in the NFL today, you better have good hands or you better be brilliant as a running back. There's one of the good wide receivers turned running back right there in Delpino. And Smith showing you his good hands on that last play.
Third down and 1 for the Raiders. The first down. Larry Kelm, first man to reach him, and then some help. And the Raiders will kick it away with plenty of time remaining.
Jeff Fisher never afraid to gamble. Last week against San Diego put 9 men up to get their safety. And everybody is almost on the line except Terrell here. They stuff it as Nick Bell staggers a little bit over his own blocker, Smith, who'd been knocked to the ground. What a nice play by the Ram defense.
Everett getting set to go back to work. Jeff Gossett, who has 2 punts of 50 and 60 yards. Vernon Turner, who has scored the go-ahead touchdown, is back deep now on a high kick. And Turner is buried at the 37-yard line. A kick of 43 yards. For you viewers on the West Coast, I want to remind you that at 5 o'clock Pacific time, Pat O'Brien will be along with the pregame show. Braves and the Twins coming up with the first pitch at 5:35. Tom Glavine, the left-hander and possible Cy Young Award winner for the Braves, will go against Kevin Tapani. And tonight, 60 Minutes will follow baseball for you viewers on the West Coast. Rams start out in good position on their 38-yard line. Jim Everett having a successful day thus far. Avoids a sack and throws it up for Del Pino. 1 man to beat. But Anderson was there. Huge gain for the Rams. 37 yards.
Everett avoid the rush. Scott Davis has him dead to rights, and Everett steps underneath and then throws off his back foot. And how in the world does he do this? Right down the chimney to Del Pino, and Del Pino again with the very big play on the pass.
How often do you see a running back gain over 100 yards as a receiver? Well, Del Pino has 8 catches, 117 yards, gets a breather now. Cleveland Gary checks in, and he goes up the middle inside the 15, and another first down for the Rams. Eddie Anderson that time on the stop.
The Rams have done a good job of calling plays today. Ernie Zampese upstairs matching his brain on the inside and saying, hey, you hit him with the pass and then you go in. Jamal Love right here. Let's watch what he does on that last play. You get a feeling for the matchup he's had all day. Pulls over on the inside. Bam! On Ellison right there. Just enough to keep Ellison from sliding into that hole. Jamal Love, who's had his hands full, makes a big play there.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Gary gets to the 9. The Rams could get a first down without scoring. Winston Moss making the tackle. Del Pino's season's high as a receiver, 10 receptions in the opener against the Phoenix Cardinals, and he's back in there.
Well, Del Pino has had a great day, but the catalyst today has been Jimmy Everett. Jimmy showing the kind of confidence and the kind of flair, the kind of big play capability that was so much a part of his game back in '88 and '89.
2nd and 7 coming up. Up the middle, and it's intercepted by Ronnie Lott. And Everett threw a bad pass, pure and simple. It was intended for his roommate, Jim Price.
May have gotten too cute on that play. They ran a fake pick with Price coming from the left side. He faked the pick and then went upfield. And Everett, even though he was covered by Lott, tried to get it over Lott's head. Bad choice. And big play, we said earlier, when you write big play, you put a picture of Lott next to it. We do it again here.
1st First down on the 20 for the Raiders, trailing 17-10 to the Rams. 6:22 on the clock. Penalty marker down, and the pass is caught by Nick Bell. 24 yards if it's against the Rams. Kevin Green downfield on the pass coverage. But how often has Ronnie Lott haunted the Rams as a member of the 49ers and comes back in the silver and black today?
One of the best eye readers in the NFL, and I'm sure he was reading Everett's eyes on that play.
Holding. Number 91 of the defense. The penalty is declined. First down.
Kevin Green was holding, and it's a first down for the Raiders. This play last week in overtime, and look at the read against Jeff Kemp and the diving interception by Ronnie Lott, which set up the winning field goal by Jeff Jager. And then moments ago, Lott picked another one off.
Reading the eyes again. Everett locked on his receiver. Ronnie Lott knew where that football was going to go, went over there and stole it.
First down on the Raider 44, going up top this time for Tim Brown. Jerry Gray in the process.
Jerry Gray fights on the out move, and there's no way that he's going to be able to keep up right there as Brown had to stop for that football, but Gray still couldn't catch up with it.
45-yard pass to Tim Brown, and now the Raiders are in business. First down on the 11. They need a touchdown to tie it.
Interference.
Roman Pfeiffer interfered with Ethan Horton, and it'll be first and goal at the 1.
He mentioned that Pfeiffer went into the game to try and control Horton. Well, he's done a fairly good job in the second half. But you can't hit them when they got their hands up.
66 is reported as an eligible receiver. 66.
We get a chance to watch that play. There they are right there as they come in off the left side of your screen, and you see the hand going up inside before the ball arrives.
Steve Wright, the right tackle, is an eligible receiver. Number 66, he reported. First and goal at the 1, and that pass is dropped by Nick Bell. He would have scored. He was in.
He made the classic mistake. You teach kids in Pop Warner football, catch the football and then look upfield. Nick Bell took his eye off the football before he tucked it away, and it bounced free.
It'll be second and goal at the 1, and here it is again.
The linebackers again just getting killed by the Raiders here. Was a linebacker on the last play, and you see how open Bell is. Kevin Green, a man over there to try and stop him, but he's miles away.
Here's Bell. And he doesn't get there. A minute ago, the Rams were in position for at least a field goal that would have given them a 10-point lead. Now, the Raiders are 1 yard from possibly tying it up, but it appears to be a long yard for them as Kevin Green made the stop on the rookie Nick Bell.
Well, and you anticipate looking at that clock, 4:30 on the clock at this moment. Do you consider this a third and a fourth down attempt at a touchdown? I think you might have to do that. I don't think you kick a field goal in this situation.
So they have 2 downs to get over it. Nick Bell, touchdown. First NFL touchdown. It is the first rushing touchdown by the Raiders in this 1991 season. 17-16, and Jeff Jaeger, with Gossett holding, will try to even it up with 4:08 on the clock. We've got another tie. Art Shell nicknamed him Boomer. He says, we don't have Bo, but we do have Boomer. That's Boomer.
James Fitzpatrick, a backup tackle, doesn't get many chances, but got a huge opportunity. He's the extra tackle right here as they put him in. Watch the double team here. Two tight ends outside of him, and they get good blocks. And Bell right in behind the action with plenty of room to plunge into that end zone.
But it was all set up by Ronnie Lott's end zone interception, which gave the Raiders possession, and then a big 45-yard pass to Tim Brown that set it all up. Kick goes to Vernon Turner. Down in the end zone. Rams will take it from the 20.
The pressure clearly shifted to the Rams side of the field as at this moment. The Ram offense has got to do one thing. They've got to move this football down the field, and they're thinking very simply. Use up the clock, get down the field, and get points on the board. They don't have to score the TD. They can kick the field goal, but they've got to eat the clock and get the ball down the field.
You remember they had to use a timeout because of a defensive mix-up, so they only have 2 left. Everett on first down. Completes to Henry Ellard up the middle. And gets it up for a first down, it appears. Making the tackle was Tom Benson. Just in case he's needed, there's Tony Zendejas.
Perfect, Tony Zendejas.
That's right. First down on the 30. Less than 3.5 to play in the fourth quarter. Under siege, Everett lets go of it, and it's intercepted and dropped by Eddie Anderson.
That's twice today that Eddie Anderson has had the football in his hands, once down on the goal line, and dropped it.
Anderson and McDaniel were both covering Henry Ellard, so he threw a Hail Mary pass, and great pressure from Scott Davis.
Huge pressure coming in from the right-hand side. Watch Scott Davis going all the way around Gerald Perry, and Gerald, who played well in the first part of this game, not so solid there. And you see the receiver going down. Inadvertent contact, I'm sure. Very often, when you see an interception dropped like that, the teams come back to score with the football. Dick, let's see if it happens here.
Second and 10, it's deflected, and Ronnie Lott has another interception. Deflected off of Howie Long's helmet, Merlin.
Well, it doesn't matter who deflected it. That's the man that brought it down. And was Ronnie Lott worth spending some dollars on and Plan B acquisition? Yeah, I can't say it. He can do it. Watch him there. Picks it up, locks it away. Ronnie Lott with his second huge play in the late going here. Look back to that big play last week. Some players have the knack for big plays.
He's had it throughout his career. Let's see if the Raiders can capitalize. Nick Bell gets 6 yards on first down with 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
I said just a moment ago that the Rams wanted to eat the clock and get themselves in position to score, whether field goal or touchdown. That shoe is shifted to the other foot now. That's exactly what the Raider thinking is, and they're going to do it, I think, by grinding it out on the ground.
Second down and 5. Bell again. He's got the first down. He's got to be wearing down the Ram defensive line at 255 pounds. He's on the 27 now of the Rams.
Watch Howie Long on that last play, number 75. The ball hit Howie in the helmet as he streaked across. Right there, not his hand, bounces off his helmet. I think you said that, Dick. You're exactly right. That ball bouncing up, and there's the man who had his eye on it all the way, running a lot.
The Rams have called a timeout, and they have one left with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. The Raiders have all three of theirs, and they are in the driver's seat right now. They had trailed 17-10. Lott intercepted in the end zone, and the Raiders eventually scored, and now Ronnie is trying to give the Raiders a chance to win it.
There has to be a real deadening effect on that far sideline. The Rams, who have played so well in this football game, come down to the final part of this fourth quarter, and they know that unless they can make a big play defensively and take that football away from the Raiders, that the chances are they may end up losing this game.
First and 10 on the 27 for the Raiders. The Rams down to their last timeout. They go to Bell. He only gets a couple that time, and that may be the last play before the 2-minute warning. Larry Kelm made the tackle, and the Rams called the timeout. They're using their last timeout now. And then we'll get another stoppage of the clock at the 2-minute warning.
Jeff Fisher looking out to that field, and I'm sure he's saying, if only I had that defensive line that I left behind in Philadelphia, because this is where they come into play. You bring big Clyde Simmons and Jerome Brown and Reggie White in there, and you sack that quarterback, you force the fumble. Well, he doesn't have those people, but he certainly has gotten enthusiastic play out of this defense today.
No more timeouts for the Rams. Just consider last week's heroes for the Raiders. Schrader, Lott, and Bell. They've had a big fourth quarter, but the fourth quarter hero, Jeff Jager, waits in the wings if they need the 3 to win the game. The Raiders have never had the lead in this game, and they'll be facing a 2nd down and 9.
I don't see anybody walking for the exits here either. A full house, and they've stayed with us all afternoon.
85,000 tickets used, only 1,100 no-shows. That's phenomenal.
They missed a great game, I can tell you that.
Bell. And the Raiders are in field goal range and will have at the 2-minute warning. It'll be 3rd down, but you know that Jager is getting ready. 85,000 in attendance. Maybe it's not an intense neighborhood rivalry, but it's been a backyard brawl. Each team with 3 losses coming in. Raiders with hopes of winning an AFC Western title. They can't afford too many losses, and certainly with the Saints undefeated, the Rams can. And that's what we're standing with here in a 17-17 game, and 2nd down or 3rd down and 6. 3rd and 6 coming up for the Raiders.
Do you run it or do you throw it? I think simply you keep it on the ground. Even if you don't make it, you're in field goal range right now. You don't take a chance of turning the football over. Yeah, we got an audible. Whatever it was that was called has changed now.
Nick Bell. First down, I believe, for Nick Bell, and a big one.
You saw the list of big backs earlier. There's the payoff for the big back right there. Singled in the backfield. He carried about 3 Ram defenders for the last 2 yards of that run to pick up that critical first down.
What makes it doubly tough is that whether they score the touchdown or not, if they had gone for the field goal, the Rams would at least have more time, even though they have no timeouts. Now the Raiders can set up something with seconds left to win it if they have to.
Well, and you know that the Raiders are just going to continue to hammer, keep that ball moving down toward those goalposts, making it a shorter and shorter field goal.
Raiders use another timeout, their first actually of the second half. Right now for Jeff Jaeger, this would be a 33-yard field goal. Earlier he connected from 35 but missed a 32-yard field goal, only the second time this year that he had missed from inside the 50. World Series Game 2 coming up at 5 o'clock for the Pacific viewers. Braves and Twins at the Metrodome. Well, the Twins are going to face a tougher pitcher, I believe, tonight in Tom Glavine than they did in Charlie Leibrandt. Leibrandt had a good year, but Glavine, like Steve Avery, are very tough. And if the Twins can hit Glavine tonight, they may be well on their way. So the Braves are alive. They've got one of their aces working.
They just took an extra tackle off the field, and I think they had what they call their tilt formation on the field, and maybe they're going to put it back in. That's an extra tackle. No, they haven't. They moved him off the field. So James Fitzpatrick has replaced Steve Wright at right tackle.
First down on the 16. No surprise, Bell bounces off a defender. He has gained all of the Raider yards in this drive. Paul Butcher making the tackle.
One thing you want to do is end up with that ball in the middle of the field. And another question you ask at this point of the Raiders and their play calling, do you try and kick this field goal on third down, so if you muff the hold, you've got an extra shot at it, or do you wait and kick it on fourth down? We'll see what the Raiders have in store for us, but expect them to run to their right on this next play to position that ball in the middle of the field.
They're going to let that clock run down. They have not called a timeout yet. They have 2 remaining.
It would not surprise me to see them run one play to the right and then bring their field goal team onto the field.
40-second timeout. 40 seconds.
Raiders with a timeout. They have 1 left.
Well, there are a lot of smiles on that Raiders sideline. Jaeger just one of many smiling. There weren't that many smiles earlier as the Rams really carried the action to the Raiders in what has to be Everett's finest performance of the year, although he played well last week. The Rams really played well enough to win, but they have struggled here in the fourth quarter, and it's been a fine Raider comeback, much like the comeback they put together last week against Seattle.
Nick Bell has gained 26 yards and 6 carries in this drive, so they went to the big back, the rookie who played it under Hayden Fry at Iowa in this big drive. Al Davis before the game said Roger Craig will start, but we don't always start our best players, and Nick Bell has been a best player for the Raiders today.
Well, the big back has paid big dividends here in the fourth quarter.
Second down and 8. They just want to use up time and call the last timeout.
You saw Schrader slide to his right before he put the knee down.
And here comes Jaeger on field to try to win it with 10 seconds clock running.
And on third down. So conceivably, if he were to muff the snap, you could still call a timeout and get another chance at the field goal.
You know, we have to go back to that fumble by Jim Everett at the 1-yard line. Actually, it was Doug Smith on the snap, the mix-up, when the Rams were theoretically going in for a touchdown. That looms large here as Jaeger is on to try to win the game.
It's a huge, huge play. One of many in this game, but perhaps the most critical of the Ram miscues. They've also had a couple of other mistakes down deep in their own territory in the goal line, and that's, I'll tell you, you cannot make mistakes. When you have a chance to put points on the board, you've got to be secure in that area.
33-yard attempt is upcoming. Don't forget Ronnie Lott with 2 interceptions, and if Jaeger makes good, the Raiders would have capitalized on both of those turnovers. So here it is, a 33-yard field goal, Gossett holding.
Rams are offside, Dick, but it doesn't matter.
Kick is good by Jaeger, and the Raiders are going to win. The penalty marker is down. If it's against the Rams, it'll be declined. And apparently it is. So the Raiders lead for the first time, the only time they really needed to lead, with 2 seconds to go.
Penalty is declined. Kick is good.
A heartbreaking loss for the Rams, who did virtually everything right, except, as you just pointed out, critical mistakes at the goal line on several occasions.
This may not yet be the classic inter-city or interstate rivalry of some of the others. But with this game, with the hard-fought game back in '88, with the intensity and the emotion demonstrated by these two teams today, I think when the realignment takes place in the NFL, you've got to consider putting these two teams into the same division and letting them bash each other's brains out. I think they might do it.
This would be the Raiders' third three-point victory of the season. They've won close ones, and their record will now go to 5-3 on the year, very much in the AFC Western race. The Rams dropped to 3-4, and they're going to be fighting for their playoff lives in the next couple of weeks.
We said it earlier. This is not a time when you can look at 4 losses and say, hey, we're really in the race. And that was the struggle that both of these teams faced here today. Well, the Raiders have won that battle.
And a kick. Here comes the old Cal play against
We got
Stanford.
rugby here.
Time has run out. Rams still have possession. And they stepped out of bounds. Lemel Sanders stepped out of bounds, and the game is over. The Rams' last 2 possessions, interceptions by Ronnie Lott, resulting in a touchdown and a field goal. And what an entertaining game with 86,000 viewing it, huh?
Even the last play, they weren't going to let us out of here with a little bit of entertainment. An outstanding game. As we said, the crowd stayed here and enjoyed it right to the end, but the most enjoyment will be shared by the Raiders in their locker room with this big win.
Final score 20-17, and we'll come right back here to the Coliseum in just a moment. Denver's beating Kansas City 19-16 with 2 minutes left, and if that holds, that would tighten up the AFC West considerably. But the Raiders win and are now 17-3 under Art Shell here at the Coliseum. And so from Erlen Olsen, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The final score, the Raiders 20 and the Rams 17. Tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific time, CBS Sports coverage of the World Series continues with Game 2 as the Atlanta Braves meet the Minnesota Twins. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League. Jeff Jaeger's field goal wins it for the Raiders.